flying device here is a Simple Sandeel type pattern. Very good this time of year. I tend to time my Sandeel patterns a little bit longer this time of year because if you like, they're fully grown, and earlier in the season a lot of the Sandeels you see are a little bit smaller, so I don't change the hook size that much. This is an SA minnow, Ahrex SA minnow size 4, and I tie them right here on just above the bend of the hook, as I think it gives more movement to the fly. Just all of the materials are free flowing back here, especially a lot of the materials used on Sandeel type patterns are synthetic materials. We've had some good bass fishing right through late September into mid-October. There's a couple of nice tides left, and then the fishing will get a little bit tougher with the lower temperatures as you go through November. So right about this time of year, around October, it's a really good time for the larger Sandeel patterns in my area anyway. So let's get to just how to tie this. It's very simple, sort of a simple Sandeel. So you get a SA minnow size 4, click it into the vise here. I'm using this vise. It's a Stonefoot transformer vise. I have a bigger set of jaws, but I think you'll be able to see a bit more of what's happening here, and as the hooks aren't that big, they'll fit into these jaws pretty much okay. So I'm just going to add a little dab of super glue here where I'm going to be putting the thread, because it is inclined to slide otherwise. So just a drop, and if I can fairly quickly locate my thread. This is a 240 denier white, and I want a big thread, a larger diameter thread than I would use on some flies, not just because it's a saltwater pattern, but because I want to build up a little head area where I'm going to add the eyes of the fly, and a little bit bulkier thread makes that just less wraps, and we're tying not that much materials in, so we don't know we're going to be using a whole lot of wraps here. I'm going to start with a whitish belly. This is just a mixture of some glow in the dark material I picked up somewhere, and some polarflash. I'm not going to use much of this. I do like the glow in the dark material because often this time of year you're going to be fishing into low light conditions, starting off in the dark, or as I say, finishing off in low light conditions. So I'm just going to catch this in roughly around the length of my Sandeel. This particular bunch might be a bit long. I might have to trim it out later on, but we'll just catch it in for now. Just give it 2 or 3 turns, and then I'm just going to split it and fold it back. I don't want too much of this on top, but because it's the belly, so that's why I'm splitting it and folding it back, and then just catch it in with a couple more turns. Now if you want, it's entirely up to yourself. You can just catch that. If you want to, you can put some turns of thread underneath, or you can even tie in a loop of some form of fluorocarbon or mono. So just going to trim that to about a little bit shorter than the length of the Sandeel itself when it's finished fly. I'm just going to add some pearl. This is a material called New Sparkle here by Sybai, which again it's quite similar to polarflash. I'm out of the polarflash, so I find this to be a pretty good substitute. Just going to pull out a long piece of that from the packet, and then I'm just going to cut it. Okay, move it out of the way. So here's our polarflash from Sybai. A few curls on it there, which let's just say are probably not ideal, but they'll be okay. And again, just 2 or 3 turns, and again I'm going to split this as best I can around sort of roughly half the strands down each side. Stroke them back. One doesn't want to go where it's told, it's a loose one. Just stroke them back, and it'll kind of blend in with the white and pearl mix that I already started off with. Don't worry if your thread slides forward 1 or 2 turns, but that's going to just help us give that sort of conical head shape that you'd see on the front of a real sandeel. It's up to you how thin or, you know, what sort of, you want something that's not much heavier dressed than that, and just put, you know, one more color over the back, or whether you want to use a little bit less strands. Just have a think about the size and shape of the sandeels that are in your area at the time of year. As I say, I find this is pretty close to what we find in my area. So I have a couple of strands of polarflash here. It's a blue and green mix, and I like that. I like the little bit of blue at this time of year. So give it again 2 turns and just pull that back. Try keep it on top this time. So starting to take shape. That's good colour as well, because you get joey mackerel and other bait fish around this time of year that just have that blue and green through them. So that's definitely something I like to add in. And then again, not too many strands of the next one, which is a more of a green and black. It's another polar flash, just in green and black. Find my scissors. So I mean, just very easy flies to tie. Not complicated flies to tie at all. Very simple. Again, not too many strands. There's probably maybe 8 strands there. You know, if you're just using one color on the back, then okay, you could probably use, you know, more strands. But for this one, again, 1 or 2 turns just to lock it in. Fold it back, catch it, and then just bring the thread back slightly. Just give you an idea what it's starting to look like. So we want the sort of white belly with the pearl and the blues and the greens flashing through it. Again, you can trim this after to length easy enough. And what I'm going to do, because this thread is quite slippy, I'm going to put 1/2 hitch on here just to keep it in place, and it won't hopefully slide too far forward the hook. Get my whip finish tool, catch it in. And again, I'm just going to try and keep the thread in around this area here and not sliding too far forward. You can pull this thread really tight to secure it, as you can see. So just have a look at it here. You know, remember this fly's going to be wet, so I like to wet it. Have a look at the shape. A little bit long on top there, so I'll just get a little bit of a trim, and that's about right. Okay. Again, just wet the strands. They are synthetic strands. Oh no, it stuck to me there. So look, you have it fly tied in about 10 minutes. It's not a complicated amount of material. Some polar flash, I would say whites, pearls with greens and olives over the back. About right. So I'm going to add eyes. So get your UV resin. You probably know from if you watched any of my other videos, I like to use UV knot scents for adding eyes. Just roll it around and get a needle of some sort or a bodkin. If you want, you can brush a little bit of it back. Just keep a little bit of tension on your materials while you're doing that. Okay, and they just help keep them a little bit streamlined in that area of the hook there. Get your eyes out. I'm stuck onto the back of my hand here. So these are 4mm. It's not like bait fish as such, you don't need gigantic eyes on a Sandeel. So 3 or 4 mil is probably fine. These are 4 mil. Just place them on where you want them. Check that they're roughly in line with one another. Just pull that out of the way again and see, and just give it a little shot of the UV torch. That one is lightly off. I should be able to move it a little bit. So that's it. Okay. Now I'm just going to add a drop on top, like so, and it's sort of, there's a sort of a hollow in between the eyes there, so I'm filling that in and then setting the eyes. You might find that you have to hold your UV torch on the materials for a little bit longer, just because the resin is going to be a little bit thicker. I'm going to turn it over. It's going to pretty much do the same on this side. Just put a drop there. I'm just going to let it run all around now. Get my needle. So basically I'm filling in any hollow that's there, and then I'm just coating the eyes all around. So it's a good idea, if you can at this stage, keep your vise rotating. Really thin resin is really going to run. So thicker resin is handy at this stage when you're building your head. As I say, just kind of try and keep the vise rotating, and it keeps your eyes in place and keep your resin from running it too many areas. Then when it's starting to take shape, get your torch. Again, you can slowly rotate your vise and give it a few shots. Now it's pretty bright here, so I don't know, you might, if I just move this material here, you might be able to see the glow in the dark effect as well. Certainly lighting up from my side, but I'm not sure from your side. But that's effectively the finished fly. It's as simple as that.